Let's be honest. When you picture changing your life, you picture something cinematic. The dramatic resignation, the plane ticket to a new city, the morning you wake up and you're suddenly the version of yourself you've been promising you'd become for years. A montage, a soundtrack, a before and an after. Here's the truth nobody really wants to hear. That version of change almost never happens. And when it does, it usually doesn't stick. Real change is boring, repetitive, so small it feels almost insulting to call it change at all. It's the stuff you do when nobody is watching, nobody is clapping, and nobody, including you, is impressed. It's not the big moments that rebuild your life, it's the architecture you build underneath them. The mundane, unglamorous, almost embarrassingly small habits that nobody posts about because there's nothing to post. They won't trend. They won't get you likes on social media. That's exactly why they work. Today I'm walking you through 14 of these habits. Not 15, not 20, 14. Every one of them is going to sound underwhelming. Every one of them is tied to a specific thinker who has spent years, sometimes centuries, arguing for it. And one of them, I'll warn you now, is going to sound so small you'll be tempted to skip it. Don't. It's the one that quietly does the most work. By the end, you won't need motivation. You'll just need to pick one. Habit 1. Make your bed. I know. You can almost hear the eye roll forming, but Admiral William McRaven built an entire commencement speech, and later a book, around this exact habit. And the reason isn't about hospital corners. It's about completing a single, deliberate task before the world has had a chance to throw anything at you. You start the day having already done what you said you'd do. Small win. Banked. The bar for the next decision moves up half an inch. McRaven's argument, after 37 years in the Navy, was that the small things matter precisely because they're small. If you can't do the little thing right, you'll never do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you come home to a bed that's made. By you. That you made. There's something quietly stabilizing about that. Boring? Absolutely. Effective? Without question. Habit 2. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. Before coffee, before scrolling, before anything. James Clear talks about this in Atomic Habits as a textbook example of habit stacking. You're not adding willpower. You're attaching a new behavior to something you already do, in this case, waking up. Your body is mildly dehydrated after 7 or 8 hours of sleep, your brain runs better with fluids in it, and you've now done 2 intentional things before 7 a.m. By the way, every book and thinker I'm referencing in this video is linked in the description, so if any of them grab you, the trail is right there. Habit 3. Audit your time. Not your calendar, your time. And for this one, I'm not pulling from a productivity author. I'm pulling from a Roman senator who died in 65 AD. Seneca wrote a letter called On the Shortness of Life, and the entire argument is this. People are absurdly protective of their money. They will fight over a single coin, but they hand their time away for free to anyone who asks without flinching. And then at the end of their lives, they wonder where it all went. Once a week, look at where your time actually went. Not where you planned it to go, where it went. Most people have never done this once. The act of looking is the entire habit. There's a reason high performers obsess over one specific thing in the morning, and we'll get to it in a few minutes. Stay with me. Habit 4. Put your phone in another room, not face down, not on silent. Another room. Nir Eyal, in Indistractable, makes the case that distraction isn't a willpower problem, it's a friction problem. The phone in your pocket is a slot machine you keep losing to without realizing you're playing. The phone 3 rooms away is just a phone. You don't have to fight it. You just have to put it somewhere you'd have to stand up to reach it. That's friction reduction in reverse, and it's friction reduction at its finest. Habit 5. Write 3 things down every morning. Not a journal entry, not a manifesto. 3 things. Julia Cameron, in The Artist's Way, calls this practice morning pages, and the version most people can actually sustain is a stripped-down one. What's on your mind? What you're worried about. What you want to do today. 3 lines. The trick is, the act of writing externalizes the noise. It moves it from a loop in your head to a list on a page, and the list is always more manageable than the loop. Boring? Yes. That's the point. Habit 6. Read 10 pages a day. Ryan Holiday talks about this constantly. 10 pages doesn't sound like much because it isn't. But 10 pages a day is roughly a book every 2 to 3 weeks, which is somewhere between 12 and 20 books a year, which is more than most adults read in a decade. The reason it works is that 10 pages is small enough that you don't negotiate with it. You don't need to be in the mood. You don't need a free afternoon. You just need 10 pages. Compound that for 5 years and you're a different person with a different vocabulary and a different set of frames for thinking. Plain math. Boring math. That's why it works. Habit 7. Take a walk. Not a workout. A walk. Nietzsche famously said that all truly great thoughts are conceived while walking, and he meant it literally. He walked for hours through the Swiss Alps and produced some of the most influential philosophy of the 19th century. Thoreau walked 4 hours a day and wrote in his essay Walking that he could not preserve his health and spirits without it. Darwin had a path he called the sandwalk and circled it daily while working out his ideas. This is one of the oldest pieces of advice in human history, and we keep rediscovering it because it keeps being true. Walking unsticks something in your head that sitting can't. You don't need to optimize it. You don't need to track it. You don't need a podcast in your ears. You just need to go. Habit 8. Eat the same breakfast every day. This sounds insane until you realize who already does it. Obama wore the same 2 suits as president to reduce decision fatigue. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit for the same reason. The science here is real. Every decision you make, no matter how small, draws from the same finite pool of mental energy. Decide what you eat at 7 a.m., and you've spent some of it before the real day has started. Automate breakfast, and you've moved one more thing off the list. This is infrastructure for your attention. Boring, yes. Boredom is your friend here. Habit 9. Enter flow once a day. This is the one I warned you about. The one that sounds so small you'll want to skip it. Don't. Csikszentmihalyi, the Hungarian psychologist who spent 30 years studying optimal experience, found something that contradicts almost everything modern productivity culture sells you. People are happiest, sharpest, and most creative not when they're relaxing, but when they're so absorbed in a single demanding task that time disappears. He called it flow. The conditions are simple. One task, hard enough to challenge you, not so hard that you panic. No interruptions. A clear goal. He found that people in flow report higher satisfaction than people on vacation. Once a day, give yourself 60 to 90 minutes where one thing has all of you. No tabs, no phone, no checking. Most people have not had a single hour of real flow in months, and they wonder why life feels flat. This is why. Habit 10. Go to bed at the same time and get sunlight in your eyes within an hour of waking. Andrew Huberman has built a career on this exact pairing, and the science is unambiguous. Your circadian rhythm runs on 2 signals: when you sleep and when you see light. Most people get neither right. They go to bed at random times, then stare at a phone screen the second they wake up, and then wonder why they're tired at noon and wired at midnight. The fix is almost annoyingly simple. Pick a bedtime. Hit it within reason, including weekends, and when you wake up, walk outside, even for 2 minutes, and let real sunlight hit your eyes. No glass, no sunglasses. 2 minutes. Your hormones will thank you in ways you can measure within a week. Habit 11. Say no to one thing this week. Greg McKeown in Essentialism argues that the most undervalued skill of the modern era is the disciplined pursuit of less. Most of us aren't burned out because we're not doing enough. We're burned out because we said yes to 100 small things we didn't really want, and now we have no time for the 3 things we actually do. Saying no once this week to one invitation, one favor, one project is a muscle. The first rep is the hardest. It gets easier. And every no quietly buys back time for a yes that actually matters. Quick aside, drop a comment with the habit on this list you already do without thinking. I'm genuinely curious which one is most common. Habit 12. Review your finances once a week. Not obsessively, not anxiously. Just a 10-minute look. Ramit Sethi has been beating this drum for 20 years. Most people don't have a money problem so much as an awareness problem. They don't know what came in, what went out, or what's about to. A weekly check-in, even a casual one, removes the low-grade anxiety that comes from not knowing. And awareness, over months and years, compounds into something that looks a lot like control. The hardest habit on this list isn't physical at all, by the way. We'll get there. Habit 13. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. This is the hard one I just promised you. No phone, no music, no podcast, no book, just you, sitting, doing nothing. Tim Ferriss has said in interviews that more than 80% of the world-class performers he's interviewed across business, sports, and the arts have some form of daily mindfulness or stillness practice. The reason it's hard isn't because sitting is hard. It's because we've trained ourselves into a state where any unfilled second feels like a mistake to correct. The line at the coffee shop, the elevator ride, the 30 seconds it takes to boil water, they've all been colonized by the screen in your hand. Silence is a mirror. The first few days you sit in it, you'll hate it. You'll feel itchy and slightly unwell. Push through. After 2 weeks, you'll notice you make better decisions, react less, and feel less reactive in conversations you used to lose. Boring? Profoundly. That's the entire point. Habit 14. Right to think, not to remember. In 1572, a French nobleman named Michel de Montaigne retired to a tower on his estate and started writing short pieces he called essays, French for attempts. He wasn't trying to publish. He wasn't trying to be profound. He was trying, on paper, to figure out what he actually thought about things. He invented an entire literary form by accident, and his real insight is one almost nobody applies anymore. Most of us write to remember. Grocery lists, notes, reminders. Almost nobody writes to think. Once a week, take 20 minutes and write about something you can't quite resolve in your head. A decision, a relationship, a frustration. Don't aim for clarity. Just chase the thought across the page. You will be amazed at what you didn't know you knew. If any of these are landing, you already know which one you've been avoiding. So that's the list. Make your bed. Drink water first. Audit your time. Phone in another room. 3 things written down. 10 pages read. A walk. The same breakfast. 1 hour of flow. The same bedtime and morning sunlight. 1 no. A weekly money check. 10 minutes of silence. 20 minutes of writing to think. Read it again. Notice what's missing. There's no cold plunge, no 4 a.m. wake up, no supplement stack, no journaling prompt with 47 sub-questions, no identity overhaul. None of it is impressive in isolation, and that's the entire architecture of the thing. Annie Dillard wrote one of the most quietly devastating sentences in modern American writing. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. Read that twice. Not how we spend our years. Not how we spend our decades. How we spend our days. The day is the unit. Everything else is the day. Repeated. These 14 habits are not goals. They're the shape of a day. And the shape of a day, repeated long enough, becomes the shape of a life. That's not motivation talking. That's just arithmetic. 6 months from now, if you actually do this, you won't be able to point to which habit changed things. It won't be one. It'll be all of them compounding in the background while you weren't paying attention. That's how real change works. Quietly, slowly, without a soundtrack. Don't try to start 14 habits tomorrow. You'll quit by Thursday. Pick one. The one you read and felt a little resistance to, that's probably the one. Do it for 2 weeks. Don't track it on an app. Don't tell anyone. Just do it. Then add the next one. Build boring, build slow, build sustainable. Let me know in the comments which habit you're starting with. I read them, and I'll see you in the next one.